want to go. I think we really started changing our minds when we had to acknowledge that the liturgy and the state of the church is not going to reverse course. It's not going to go back. It's this whole recognize and resist, like why exactly?
Like we're gonna hold back the tide, just our little selves, like
right. It doesn't make any sense. A book that I'll recommend again at the end, and I know you've recommended before, but the book The Pope, the Council, and the Mass has some really great things to say about this. There's a quote from it. It says, the Catholic Church does not, never has, and never will go back on the solemn decisions of her general councils arrived at with the assistance of the Holy Spirit. The unreality of the SSPX and of the extreme traditionalist positions on this matter should be evident to anyone who knows and understands what the true tradition of the church really is. It just, we're not going to go, the Novus Ordo is not going to die out. Like for those of you who claim that, it's not going to. It's not going to get legislated away. It's just not. That is what it is. That's what we have. That makes up 99.9% of churches across the world. It is what it is. And I think it was just time for us to say, you know what, I'm tired of fighting this. I'm tired of resisting it. I'm tired of trying to do it the way that we want to do it. The church is our mother, right? That's what we say. We trust her. We trust that she is doing what's best for us. We trust that she's not going to lead us to something that's going to be harmful. And that's a whole other discussion I could get into. But we were just tired of trying to fight the movement. Pope Francis, I have a quote from him as well. He said back in 2017, he said, "It's not enough to reform the liturgical books. The mentality of the people must be reformed as well. There's still work to do in this direction, in particular, rediscovering the reasons for the decisions made with the liturgical reform." And this is key here: overcoming unfounded and superficial readings, partial receptions, and practices that disfigure it, which, we unfortunately do suffer from. But, and then this just, he just closes the book on it here. He says, "After this magisterium, after this long journey, we can affirm with certainty and with magisterial authority that the liturgical reform is irreversible." There it is from the Pope. It's not going away. It is what it is. It's what we have. It's a rough time right now, but that's what we have. And trying to preserve this, idealist, mentality of, we just need to go back to the way things were. We just, everything was fine before. Let's just reintroduce it. No, it's not going to work. It doesn't work like that. I have a whole barrage of quotes here, but
that's great. You're so well prepared.
Dr. Larry Chapp in his blog Gaudium et Spes 22. This quote is a little bit longer, but I really liked it. He said, "Modernity equals spiritual corrosion. Are we to believe then that somehow the Tridentine form of Catholicism, with its index of forbidden books, silencings of non-Thomistic theologies, massa damnata triumphalism, syllabi of errors, and its sloppy and perfunctory Latin liturgies would have been immune to that acid? That the dour message of mortal sins everywhere, especially sexual ones, and the ever-present danger of eternal damnation for most of us, was going to somehow light a fire of conversion in millions of people rather than the reverse?" He summed it up so well for me. I was like,
it's really good.
That's exactly what I experienced. That's exactly what my wife experienced. That's exactly what so many of my friends and family have experienced, is that right there. And it doesn't work. It's not like, I completely acknowledge and agree that there are issues that we have to deal with today. Right. And we're working our way there, we're getting there, but saying, "Oh, we made a mistake, turn around." I'm sorry. No, it doesn't work like that.
Right.
If 99.8% of the bishops in the entire world, agreed that this needed to be changed, that the Mass needed to be changed, I don't know where we get the gall to say otherwise. The claim that it was some diabolical plot by, the Freemasons or the communists or what have you, that just falls apart for me when you see that the entire church agreed that it needed to happen. 4 bishops, 4 said no. Yeah. Out of like 2,100 and something, I forget the exact number. But the mind of the church clearly thinks here that the Mass needs to be updated. So I don't want to hear it with this Mass of the Ages thing when all the bishops, even Archbishop Lefebvre, agree that it needed to be changed. I don't want to hear it. It's like, I understand and I completely acknowledge that it's a beautiful thing, and we still go and we still have it available, and I'm very grateful for that. But you know,
Yeah.
it was like they agreed it needed to be changed, and then people didn't like the change, and they said, let's go back. It's no good.
Yeah.
That's not how it works. Like, this is
Right.
what we have, and it's what we have to deal with.
Right.
The whole thing. I have an analogy. Traditionalism kind of feels like homesteading to me,
Hmm.
where this kind of old traditional way of living, this kind of back to the land, very edifying experience, right? And
Mhm.
I don't think it's a coincidence that I know a lot of people are getting into homesteading lately. It seems to kind of be taking off, but
Yeah.
both are kind of a return to the way things used to be, a return to the life that people used to live, right? And I think that's
Mhm.
wonderful. I think if that's what you want to do, go right ahead. That's great. You should, enjoy it, and that's great. But when you think your homestead is like the ideal way to live, and you look down on everyone because they don't homestead, that's where I start having a problem, right?
Yeah.
And when you start saying that, your homegrown vegetables are the only thing that will really sustain you, and my store bought vegetables aren't going to sustain me, they're not good for me, they're not what I need, then
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay, stop, please.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk to you at that point. Like,
Yeah. Right.
homesteading is wonderful, and you should do it if you want to, and that's great, and I'm happy for you. And
Yeah.
I might even be interested in participating if you just show me how much you like it and show me how great it is and all these things, right?
Right.
But if you try to, shove it down my throat and explain to me why it's the only good thing, the only real way to live, and the only authentic thing, I don't want it.